Hi, everybody. Today is our third poetry lesson. So remember from yesterday, we wrote a poem that described some of our favorite things. Like remember we wrote one together about ice cream. And hopefully you wrote one on your own. Well, today, boys and girls, we're going to work on adding more describing words to write in our poetry. Okay, so when we're thinking, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, we think about the five senses and we can put that into our poetry and just other writing that we do. So let's go ahead and think about those five senses again. So we know that seeing is one of the five senses. So seeing, and I'll try my best to draw an eyeball. Okay. We've got, what else? I know you know your five senses. Hearing, things you can hear. And Mrs. Holman will draw a wonderful ear, I'm sure. I just kind of draw a couple C's. I don't know. All right. And you know what? I'm going to turn off that light. Okay, hold on just a minute, boys and girls. I don't know if that works better. A little better. Yeah, okay. So we've got seeing, hearing, tasting. And Mrs. Holman will just draw kind of like a U shape for a tongue. All right, we have smelling. So something you can smell from your, and there's a little nose. Okay, and then the final one, of course, is touching or how something feels. So touching is another sense, and I'll just draw a hand. Oh, well, yes, okay. So we have all of those senses to help us describe things found in our poem. We can describe our favorite things using all of these. Okay, so before we get started on our writing today, I am going to read you a book that is set up like a poem. So as you are listening to me read, I want you to think about how the author describes the ocean. So below here, I have a book called The Ocean, and it's about a day at the beach and some memories that maybe this author has. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, ocean. Hello, ocean, my old best friend. I'm here with the five of me again. I see the ocean, gray, green, blue, a chameleon always changing hue. Amber seaweed, speckled sand, bubbly waves that kiss the land. All right, so let's pause right there. Already it says when we go over here, I see. So we're using one of those five senses. So they are seeing gray, green, blue, all of those. And amber seaweed, speckled sand, bubbly waves that kiss the land. See how they're using all those descriptive words? Wide open water before my eyes, reflected in a bowl of skies. What can you notice? What describing words do they say there? Wide and open, talking about reflection, reflecting. Glistening tide pools and secret nooks. I love the way the ocean looks. I hear the ocean, a lion's roar, crashing rumors toward the shore. And now we're using that hearing what the ocean sounds like, and they're comparing the ocean to a lion's roar. Water shushing and rushing in, then whispering back to the sea again. Froggy songs from distant boats, gentle clangs from bobbing floats. So again, they're talking about the sounds the water makes, shushing and rushing, and then whispering. Skreek of gulls calling down, I love the way the ocean sounds. I touch the ocean and the surf gives chase, then wraps me in a wet embrace. So then we're talking about our touching and how the ocean feels. And she is saying it's like a wet embrace is like a hug. Pulling, pushing the restless sea repeats the same refrain to me. Waves that pounce in rowdy play, tide that tickles with splashing spray. Squishy, sandy, soggy ground, slippery seaweed that wraps around. So again, something that's slippery and squishy and sandy, those are how things feel by touching. Sudden breezes that make me squeal, I love the way the ocean feels. I smell the ocean, the fresh salt wind, wafting lotions from sun-tanned skin. So now again, we're talking about that smelling and what she can smell while she's at the ocean. Aromas from some ancient tale disclose their news when I inhale. Reeky fish from waters deep, fragrant ore from holes dug deep. So she's really trying to describe the ocean using maybe that fish smell that sometimes that we can smell a little bit stinky, and then just how the ocean smells when you're breathing it in. Drying kelp and musty shells, I love the way the ocean smells. I taste the ocean and wonder why it tastes like tears. I sometimes cry. Sandy grains in a salty drink. So now we're talking about tasting. Sometimes that ocean water could get in your mouth. And we know, and if you've ever cried too, our tears are kind of salty and the ocean is salty. Are best for fish and whales, I think. I lick the drops still on my face. I love the way the ocean tastes. The sun dips down, it's time to go, but I'll be back to see your show. Hear the stories you have to spin, taste your flavors once again. Take deep sniffs of briny air and feel the treasures you have to share. Goodbye, ocean, my oldest best friend. All right, so boys and girls, that author used all of their senses to describe the ocean, and it gave you a really great picture in your mind of what the ocean feels and tastes and smells and looks like and sounds like. Okay, nice job listening. So now we're going to use our five senses, and Mrs. Holman's going to give you a topic to think about that we're going to create together. Okay, so our five senses. Our topic today is going to be a movie theater. So Mrs. Holman's going to write movie theater. So as I'm writing, I want you to think about a movie theater that you've been to. Okay, so I'm going to give you a second to think about a movie theater. Maybe you've gone to watch a movie. Maybe you went to watch, I don't know, was Frozen 2 the last one to come out? I'm not sure. But I want you to picture in your mind how we can use our five senses to describe a movie theater. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with seeing. When you walk into a movie theater, what do you see? Well, you know what I see first is the concession stand. I see the concession stand. That's where they sell the food. I see a list of movies. Okay. So then, once you get into the movie theater, what do you hear? What do you hear when you get into the movie theater? Well, you can hear the loud sound. I think it always starts out with a loud sound. So we can write that down for something that we hear. It's really loud in there. What is something that you could taste at the movie theater? Think about that. They have usually popcorn and candy. So if I'm tasting, I know popcorn can be salty, buttery. Candy can be sweet. And what do we smell? Check the closet. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Okay, so we can taste salty, buttery, sweet. What about smell? The first thing that I can smell when I get into a movie theater is that buttery popcorn. Popping in the popcorn. Mrs. Holman loves popcorn. What can we touch? What can we touch? What can we feel at the movie theater? Maybe we can feel those soft seats that we sit in. Another thing that Mrs. Holman feels sometimes when I'm in the movie theater is cold, because I think they keep their temperature down a little bit. So Mrs. Holman always makes sure to bring a jacket because I'm always cold in the movie theater. So I feel cold sometimes in the movie theater. So boys and girls, this is how to use your 5 senses when you're describing something. Today, what I want you to do is to pick one of your topics. It can be a topic that you wrote about on our first day, one of those things that's important to you. And I want you to use your 5 senses just on a piece of paper. You can just do it on a piece of paper, and you can draw at the top. You can write your topic like Mrs. Holman did, movie theater. And then you can write your 5 senses. And I want you to try to come up with describing words. Boys and girls, I'd love to see these. If your parents want to send me a picture, that would be great. Okay, happy writing.